Okay, I'm Dave Godson. I live in Lincoln. I'm 56 years old. I think I was disappointed by some of the comments that were made. I've got concerns about the people of Lincoln and Lincolnshire in terms of their safety. I was a bit disappointed by Mark Jones's comments, particularly he's made great emphasis on saying that he wanted to look after the safety of people in Lincolnshire. But him as leader of the county council is just making quite savage cuts to the fire and rescue service, which is going to actually put people in Lincoln at risk through the service that they get. My worry would be is that he continues doing that same vein within the police service. So I'm not entirely convinced that people of Lincolnshire will be safe as a consequence of that. Well, I'm obviously perhaps I'm biased because I'm obviously a member of the Labour Party, and I always obviously be a supporter of Lucinda. I think she would do a good job. I think she is from the grassroots level in that respect and understands what's going on the ground. The fact that she is community-based with the teaching role that she does gives her a good grounding in understanding what is in essence a community role. I think there's always been a debate really in terms of whether the PCC role is one of value or not. I suppose you could argue with the issues faced with Alan Hardwick and the relationship with the Chief Constable, and that maybe wasn't a good relationship and certainly maybe not the best example of how a PCC could work. The old police authority held the police commissioner to account in those days, so I think they had locally elected people on that authority. So I think there's different models. We have to look at one that's going to work best for the community, whether that's a PCC or some other structure, I don't know.
My name's Nick Smith and I'm 52 and I'm a local haulier here in Lincoln. Well, Victoria Ayling shot some good points. Being a barrister, she seemed to have the legal grip on it. A little bit perturbed about the Labour candidate throwing stones in glass houses with the racism nonsense, when today, of course, we've got 3 Labour councillors suspended for anti-Semitism and, of course, a Labour MP suspended for anti-Semitism. I think Labour's really pushing it there, I thought. I'm a bit perturbed that we import a problem and then we have to allocate more resources to police the crime that it creates. Seems a strange situation. If you import more crime, do we have to allocate more police officers to that specific crime? It seems a strange way of maintaining your crime budget. It's very difficult to have any election in this country, be it a mayor or a PCC or anything, where the political parties don't feel they need to be involved. As I think Mark made a good comment about the politicisation of the role, in that people like to, because they've only got one vote. If an independent stands, it's very difficult for you to know actually what he stands for. When a political party stands a candidate, you've already got a good measure of perhaps what their views are. So it gives you a good indication as a voter. It helps you. An independent could be anything, couldn't it? It's useful if you've got somebody who doesn't have any affiliation, any second job, especially with such a big salary and such an important position. I feel that they should be wholeheartedly committed to it.
Councillor Martin Hill, Conservative leader of the Lincolnshire County Council. It was quite there's some very interesting questions, and I think it's quite a thoughtful debate actually. It got a little bit lively at times, but not very much. So I thought there was some very interesting questions which put them all on the spot a bit. You probably think he would say that anyway, but clearly, and I think anybody who is neutral in this would think that Mark Jones actually came over the best. I think he was the only one who had actually shown that he'd done some research, and at the end came up with a very practical suggestion about how to deal with demand from mental health people, who of course are a strain on police resources, and he had a very practical and sensible suggestion. So I think that alone, he was the only one who actually came up with something really substantial and practical without making wild promises. I think they all played to their particular strengths and weaknesses really. I think it got very political from one candidate, the Labour candidate, which I think was a bit of a turn-off in the end to us all. And I think the others, you got what you're probably expecting. They're all 4 of them are standing for a political party. There is no genuine independence. So for some of them to then sort of pretend that they had nothing to do with politics was disingenuous to say the least. I think the best thing was that you stand as you are. And I think again Mark Jones probably gave them the most convincing answer.
Hello, my name's Kirsty Clark. I'm 46 years old and I'm a community chaplain in Lincoln. I can't say that at the moment there's any clear person that I'm going to give my vote to on Thursday yet. Don't really want to get into saying too much about who I thought was bad and who was good. I think all of the candidates did give relatively good responses to some of the questions. I was disappointed that nobody could actually quantify how they were going to stop police numbers being cut. That was one example. But I was mostly disappointed that the subject that I'd come to hear about wasn't really mentioned at all. It was how the candidates viewed the way that they were going to support a reduction in the reoffending rate on guys who leave prison or leave the criminal justice system. I'm not sure that I could say where I think things need to improve, but it is proven that if somebody has the right sort of support, particularly when they leave the prison gate, either through a mentor or other support, or the paid support, my project principally works with volunteers, that actually their rate of reoffending is reduced, and I think that that's one of the critical things that in my opinion needs the Police and Crime Commissioner needs to be able to have a handle on.
I'm Charles McMeel. I'm the District Councillor for the Netherland Ward of Western Council, and I'm 34 years old. I think overall it was a good debate, and the candidates all showed different aspects of themselves. I think particularly Mark Jones came across very well. He seems like he has a lot of detail. He seems to have done his homework and knew a lot about the issues. I thought Mr Simpson also came off okay, but perhaps not as well as others, and I didn't really rate the two ladies, unfortunately. It just seemed a little bit hazy on details, and the Labour candidate just seemed to be attacking people scattershot about party politics, and I don't think this is a role we really want that sort of person in. It was getting all a bit political, and I don't think we've gone into a lot of the real issues that affect people. There were a lot of times we were just sort of batting around this pinata of the G4S contract and something called Serco, which I think might be something to do with county, but it was all in a way talking about issues that don't really connect with how I feel when I go to bed and put the lock on the door at night, and when I see people messing around in town or whatever, how I feel safe. It seemed a bit disconnected. But I thought there was a very odd moment where we were having this bit of a punching battle between the two ladies, and Lucinda was talking to a member of the public had asked a question, and she sort of told him to be quiet, and I was sat there thinking, hold on a minute. We're voters. I didn't feel respected, and I wouldn't want someone who didn't respect me and the choice I will make to be our Police and Crime Commissioner.
Hello, I'm Marianne Overton. I'm leader of the Lincolnshire Independents. I'm also a county and district councillor. It was very interesting. I think people did very well in getting their points across, which obviously is the objective. I do support Daniel, and I will vote for him. I felt that he came across very well. Daniel Simpson did a very good job. I think he's very thoughtful. His ideas are his own. It's not a practiced patter or anything. He really does think through each thing that people put forward. Also, he's clearly listening and putting residents at the heart of his thinking. And from my point of view as an independent, that's what he should be doing. The other thing I think that was very good is about having some maturity and some experience bringing to the role, and I think that's very important. And I think also it's about making sure that you take everything into account, because obviously there's legal aspects and so on as well. The questions were good, and obviously having met some of the people in the audience, there's clearly people here with a huge amount of experience and good sense, and coming from different areas of the world of tackling crime, which actually is really useful. So I think they did very well. Some of the areas obviously you couldn't cover everything, and clearly obviously rural issues for one from my point of view was absent.